Hello FPL managers, yes, we're back again with another video for the Fantasy Premier League 2022-23 season, and on this video we're going to be looking at our final draft for game week 1. We've looked through all the relevant stats on our previous videos. You can check that out if you haven't already, and we've come up with our final draft. Okay, so stick around for that. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Well, we're trying to hit 400 subscribers before the season kicks off. We're almost there, so help a brother out. Click that red button. Let's get straight into business. So it's only a couple of days before the season begins, and we've settled on this squad. Let's talk about the bench, because a lot of FPL managers have at least 17 million on their bench, but we've managed to squeeze out an extra 500k from it. So this bench costs 16.5 million, and the reason is we aren't going big at the back. We only gone with 3 at the back, with 5 midfield and 2 forwards. So that's the reason why our bench is so cheap, and it could be cheaper if Leicester City's Danny Ward is going to be the starting goalkeeper at £4 million. So we can even squeeze out an extra 1 million from our goalkeeper and put on our outfield players. But before all that, let's talk about this particular team we've settled on. At the back we have Ramsdale, Walker, Cancelo and Trent. In midfield we've gone with Bailey, KDB, Salah, Martinelli and Neto. Our forwards are Jesus and Darwin, and the first thing you notice is that there's a triple up of Manchester City assets, as well as Liverpool assets and Arsenal assets, and then we've gone with in-form low-costing midfielders in Pedro Neto and Leon Bailey. So we're gonna go through the reasons why we picked these particular players ahead of others. Starting at the back, we picked Ramsdale. He had 13 clean sheets last season. He makes a lot of saves, a save percentage of 72%. He made 3.97 points per 90 minutes played, and that's even higher than Edward Mendy, who made 3.82 points per 90. And Ramsdale has a clean sheet percentage of 35% in game week 1, so that's a lot better than you would see for David De Gea or a lot of these 4.5 million pound goalkeepers. So that's why I went with a 5 million pound goalkeeper, and it would make it quite easy for me to downgrade into a starting goalkeeper if I need to, or if I need some funds. I can easily do that. So going for Ramsdale was quite cool. We've gone with Walker because he had 2 assists last season, as well as 10 clean sheets, and if Manchester City aren't going to be replacing Zinchenko, I see a situation where Walker gets a lot of minutes. And last season he made 4.36 points per 90. That isn't really high for a 5 million pound midfielder. Someone like Tierney actually had 5.01 points per 90, so that's higher. The reason I've gone for Walker is because I'm already going for Ramsdale, who has higher bonus points, and Tierney has Zinchenko to battle with for that left back position. So Walker is a little bit more assured in that Manchester City lineup, as well as the fact that he has a very high clean sheet percentage of 54%. So that made it very easy for me to just go for a Manchester City double up. And he's a differential because he's only owned by 7.1% of FPL managers. So Walker it is, and I've paired him up with Cancelo, who is a lot higher owned at 45% ownership, also clean sheet percentage of 54%, so it was quite easy for me to go for Cancelo. But when compared to Robertson, he doesn't have as good stats as Robertson does, but I needed a different kind of Liverpool triple up, as you can see, so I decided to go with Cancelo to complete my Manchester City triple up. And to complete that defense, we have Trent, who there's really not much to say about him. He's already doing very well in preseason with a goal and 2 assists, and he has a clean sheet percentage of 56%. So that's that for Trent, really. He's a mainstay in most teams, so that explains that. As for our midfield, we went with Salah. Of course, he doesn't need much introduction. Already in preseason, he scored 3 goals and 1 assist. Pairing him up with another premium midfielder in Kevin De Bruyne. He scored 23 goals and assists last season. Already scored 2 goals in preseason, so he's still in goal scoring form. Points per 90 last season, 7.98, second only to Salah. He's predicted to score 27.7 points between game week 1 and 5, also second only to Salah. Currently he's only owned by 15.7%, so I think if he bangs, he could get us really high on those ranks. So I'm hoping to hit 500k in game week 1 so that my season can start really well. I'm hoping, but let's see how that one goes. As for the rest of the midfield, we went with Pedro Neto, who's in really good goal scoring form, £5.5 million, 3 goals and 2 assists in pre-season. He's got some really good fixtures to start the season with, so it's quite an easy pick for us. Leon Bailey, on the other hand, is another differential pick for us. He's owned by 9.3% of managers, and it could even go higher because in preseason he did quite well, 3 goals and 2 assists. That's more goals and assists than he had the entirety of last season. So he's trying to nail a spot in that Aston Villa attack, and if he does, £5 million is quite an affordable risk to take for such an explosive low-priced midfielder. To close out the midfield, we have Gabriel Martinelli, £6 million midfielder. He scored 13 goals and assists last season. Points per 90 of 5.34. He's currently owned by 16.8% of FPL managers. He did quite well in preseason, scored a goal and provided 5 assists, and he's predicted to score 18.4 points between game week 1 and 5, and that's almost as much as £10 million rated Bruno Fernandes, who's predicted to score 19.8, and £8 million Maddison, who's predicted to score 19 points. So 18.4 points for a midfielder costing £6 million is quite good value, and that's why he rounds up our midfield. As for our forwards, we have Gabriel Jesus. He's owned by more than 70% of FPL managers at this point, and that's because he scored 7 goals and created 1 goal in 6 appearances in pre-season. That's very high, shows he's really on form and he's fit in very well with that Arsenal attack. And as for Darwin Nunes, the reason we've gone with the £9 million forward is because he's kind of like an outlier. A lot of players, a lot of FPL managers are kind of shying away from him because he doesn't really pass the eye test. He seems very clumsy when he plays, but when you look at the stats, you look at the figures, he scored 5 goals and created 1 in very few preseason appearances. So he's really putting in the goals like you want. Scored 4 goals against Leipzig, a goal and an assist against City while being a sub isn't a mean feat at all. So I'm going with Darwin Nunes, and if it turns out that it's a failed pick, I can easily upgrade from Darwin to probably Kane or Haaland, whichever one is really on form, by downgrading KDB to whichever £8 million Manchester City midfielder is getting selected more often. We can't decide right now whether it's Mahrez or Foden or even £7 million rated Grealish who's going to get that wing spot nailed. So that's how it is at the moment. This is how the team has settled. Triple up in City, Liverpool and Arsenal assets, and a few really good on-form low-costing midfielders is how we've gone, and I really like this setup. So that's the team selection for game week 1, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe. We're trying to hit 400 subscribers as quickly as possible, and if you're a Nigerian FPL manager, click the link in the description to chat with the admin, register for the Platinum FPL League. Let's have some fun this season. If that'll be all, I'll say cheers, FPL wisely, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.